Stretching across mountains, deserts, and open grasslands, the Great Wall of China is often imagined as a single continuous barrier built to stop a massive invading empire. This image, powerful as it is, hides a far more complex truth. The Great Wall is not one wall, nor was it built at one moment in history. It is a layered system of defenses, constructed, rebuilt, abandoned, and revived over more than 2,000 years. Its purpose was not absolute protection, but control of land, of movement, and of fear. To understand why the wall was built, one must first understand the land it was meant to defend. North of China's heartland lie vast steppe regions, ideal for nomadic societies who lived on horseback, following seasonal migrations. These groups, including the Xiongnu, Turks, and later the Mongols, were highly mobile and skilled in warfare. For the farming civilizations of northern China, these open plains represented both opportunity and danger, serving as routes for trade as well as pathways for sudden raids. Long before China became a unified empire, individual states began building walls to protect their territories. During the Warring States period, from the 7th to the 3rd century BCE, rival kingdoms constructed earthen fortifications to mark borders and defend against neighbors. These early walls were local and fragmented, built with rammed earth, wood, and stone, shaped by the resources and threats of each region. The idea of linking them into a single defensive line did not exist until 221 BCE, when Qin Shi Huang conquered the rival states and declared himself the first emperor of a unified China. Determined to secure his new empire, he ordered the connection and expansion of northern walls into a massive frontier defense. This effort came at an enormous human cost. Hundreds of thousands of laborers, including soldiers, peasants, and convicted criminals, were conscripted to work in harsh conditions. They faced extreme weather, food shortages, and exhausting labor, and many never returned home. Though the popular myth that bodies were buried inside the wall is not supported by archaeology, the suffering behind its construction was real and widespread. The Qin Wall was not built to be an unbreakable fortress. Instead, it was designed to slow enemy movement, protect farmland from raids, and give defenders time to respond. Watchtowers were placed at regular intervals, allowing soldiers to send smoke signals during the day and fire signals at night. These messages could travel hundreds of kilometers in a matter of hours, creating an early warning system unmatched in the ancient world. Gates and passes along the wall were carefully controlled, allowing trade and diplomacy to continue while limiting unauthorized movement. In this way, the Great Wall acted as a filter rather than a barrier, managing interaction between two very different ways of life. After the fall of the Qin dynasty, the Han dynasty inherited both the wall and the frontier problem. Rather than relying solely on static defenses, the Han expanded westward, pushing their influence deep into Central Asia. They extended fortifications to protect the Silk Road, recognizing that trade was essential to imperial stability. The wall during this period became part of a broader strategy that combined military force, diplomacy, and economic integration. Nomadic leaders were offered alliances, marriages, and trade incentives, revealing that walls alone could never solve the challenge of the frontier. Over time, as dynasties rose and fell, the wall's importance fluctuated. Strong central governments invested in maintenance and expansion, while weaker regimes allowed sections to erode and disappear back into the landscape. The limits of the Great Wall became clear during the rise of the Mongol Empire in the 13th century. Led by Genghis Khan and his successors, Mongol forces did not simply attack the wall head-on. Instead, they exploited political divisions, bribed or coerced local commanders, and passed through gates that were opened from within.
Northern China eventually fell under Mongol control, and the Yuan dynasty ruled the empire for nearly a century. The wall had not failed structurally, it had failed strategically. No wall, no matter how long, could protect a divided state from a coordinated and adaptive enemy. The most iconic sections of the Great Wall were built much later, during the Ming dynasty, after the Mongols were driven out of China. Determined not to repeat past mistakes, the Ming invested heavily in frontier defense. This period saw the transformation of the wall into a massive stone and brick structure familiar today. Engineers designed stronger walls, reinforced watchtowers, and built powerful fortresses guarding key passes. Cannons and firearms were integrated into the defenses, reflecting changes in military technology. The Ming Wall was not only a defensive line, but a statement of authority, visible proof of imperial power carved into the landscape itself. Yet even this monumental effort had limits. Maintaining such a vast system required enormous resources, and corruption, economic strain, and natural disasters weakened the dynasty from within. In 1644, the Ming dynasty collapsed, not because the wall was breached by force, but because rebellion erupted inside the empire. When the Manchu forces approached the wall, its gates were opened by a Ming general seeking support against internal enemies. The Qing dynasty that followed ruled China for nearly 3 centuries, expanding its borders far beyond the wall and reducing its military relevance. The frontier had moved, and the wall became a relic of an earlier struggle. Today, the Great Wall is often described as having failed to stop invasions, but this misunderstands its purpose. It was never meant to be an absolute shield against all threats. Instead, it was a tool of management, delay, and control, shaped by geography and political reality. It reflects the belief that order could be imposed on uncertainty, that permanence could be built against change. The wall did not stop every empire because there was no single empire it was destined to stop. What it did leave behind is a record of human ambition on an extraordinary scale, stretching over deserts and mountains, rising and falling with the fortunes of the dynasties that built it. In the end, the Great Wall stands not as a symbol of perfect defense, but as a reminder that the greatest strengths and weaknesses of civilizations are often found not at their borders, but within their own foundations.